Hey kids, I am back with What Was the Gold Rush book, and I'll be reading chapters 5 and 6. Chapter 5, A Miner's Week. Today, most people work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, but a miner worked 12 to 16 hours a day. And after his prospecting was done, he still had to cook dinner. Many men had never cooked a meal before. Dinner might only be beans, bacon, and coffee. Fruit and vegetables were scarce. Without them, a prospector could get a disease called scurvy. It came from not getting enough vitamin C. Hardly anyone took a bath. Beards grew long. No one wanted to waste time washing clothes. They figured all that could wait till after they struck it rich. Miners sometimes banded together in small groups. That way they didn't get so lonely. They could share a tent. They could share experiences and work, too. If one miner got sick or was injured, his partners could take care of him. Camp doctors weren't trustworthy. Sometimes they were only swindlers pretending to be doctors. They'd give a spoonful of sugar-flavored water to a patient and say it was medicine, and they'd charge up to $100. And here's miners at work in the gold fields. Some wives did come west to help out their husbands, but there were hardly ever any kids in the camps. The few who were there didn't go to school. They might help out at the mines, or they got town jobs to earn money for the family. They delivered newspapers, swept shop floors, and ran errands in hotels. Wives gardened, did laundry, and sometimes even mined. They also did the cooking. In September 1849, a prospector saw a woman named Luzena Wilson cooking outside her family's tent. He longed for some home-cooked food, so he paid her $10 for a biscuit. That's the same as $250 today. At night, sometimes miners gathered together to drink alcohol or gamble. They'd play simple games like outdoor bowling. They'd sing songs like "Oh, Susanna." Sometimes bands of musicians or troops of actors came by the camps. This was a special treat. One girl, named Louetta Crabtree, toured mining camps with her mother. She sang and danced for the miners. Everywhere she went, audiences tossed gold coins at her feet. When she was older, she performed in San Francisco and in New York. By the time she died, she was worth $4 million. Sometimes miners made trips to Stockton or Sacramento, or even all the way to San Francisco. Miners had their gold nuggets and gold dust weighed at banks. They were paid by the weight of their gold. A pinch of gold dust was worth about $1. In town, men bought more supplies. They'd also drink and dance and gamble, sometimes all night long. Only 3 out of every 100 people in California were women. Since there were hardly any women around, men danced with each other. They grew tired of only seeing other rough and dirty men all the time, though. Prospectors liked to get their photos taken in town. They'd pose with their mining tools and gold nuggets. If they didn't have any, the photographer might lend them some gold for the picture. Miners would send these photos home to show off a little, or to comfort their families who missed them. Sunday was a day off. Everyone did chores, wrote letters home, or hunted animals for food. Some held prayer meetings, or they rested up for another long, hard week ahead. Most miners were tired, worried, lonely, homesick, dirty, smelly, and broke. What kept them going? They thought that any day now they'd find gold. Other people had. All they needed was a little luck. Chapter 6, Striking It Rich. Or not. In 1849, a lucky miner might earn $2,000 of gold a day from prospecting, but an average miner might earn between $5 and $30 a day, and everything was expensive in gold country. Boots could cost $20 and wore out fast. 2 eggs might cost $1. A barrel of flour sometimes sold for $40. The average miner's $30 of gold didn't stretch very far. Luck played a big part in who got rich and who didn't. On 2 claims right next to each other, one miner might find gold and the other nothing. You just never knew. John Sutter turned out to be one of the most unlucky people. Within months after the gold strike, his ranch was falling apart. Prospectors stole his cattle and trampled his farm. Feeling desperate, he decided to go prospecting. He hired a crew to help him search for gold. No luck. He lost even more money. Sutter's bookkeeper, however, was far luckier. His name was John Bidwell. In July 1848, he discovered gold along the Feather River, about 90 miles north of Sutter's sawmill. By the end of 1849, he found gold worth about $2.5 million in today's dollars. The location of his strike quickly grew into a mining camp with 600 people. It was called Bidwell's Bar. There were other famous finds. Some miners became millionaires almost overnight. Two brothers named John and Daniel Murphy came to California in 1844. They began prospecting in the Sierra Nevada mountains in 1848. In less than 2 years, they made about $2 million in gold. An Army officer named John Fremont struck it rich too. First, he tried to buy some land near San Francisco. By mistake, he bought land in the Sierra Nevada foothills instead. Fremont was angry about this. Still, he hired a crew of Mexican miners to look for gold on his new land. Soon, 3 sacks arrived at his doorstep. They held 100 pounds of gold, and there was plenty more to come. Stories like these encouraged other miners to keep trying. Everyone hoped to find the mother lode, the main source of all California gold. No one ever found it, because it didn't exist. Instead, there were many gold deposits throughout the Sierra Nevada. Sam Brennan moved to California in 1846 with a group of Mormon settlers. He started the California Star, which was the first newspaper in San Francisco. In 1848, he spread the word about the gold strike at Sutter's sawmill. Then he bought nearly all the iron pans in San Francisco for 20 cents each. He resold them to prospectors to use for gold panning for $8 to $16 each. In 1849, his store at Sutter's Fort made $1,500 a month. He opened more supply stores in nearby towns and bought land in California and Hawaii. He became one of California's first millionaires and one of the state's first senators. Miners were always looking for a home-cooked meal. One woman said she made $18,000 selling meat pies to hungry miners. That was a fortune in the 1850s. Other women made as much as $100 a week doing laundry. Back east, women couldn't get well-paying jobs, but in gold country, the rules were different. Any hard worker with a good idea could earn a decent living, even if they didn't go prospecting. The pictures. Some famous tales of riches sounded too good to be true. Still, the stories got passed around. One was about a lake of gold. A man named Thomas Stoddard claimed to have found the lake when he got lost in the Sierra Valley in Downeyville. He said there were chunks of gold lying on its shores. His story spread quickly. Soon, more than 500 miners paid him a fee to guide them to the lake. He tried, but he never could find it again. The men who paid him felt tricked, but he sneaked out of camp before they could get back at him. Not everyone who came to California tried to hunt for gold. Instead, they found other ways to make money from the gold rush. They started new businesses. They figured out what miners needed, and they sold it to them. One thing miners needed was sturdy work clothes. A man named Levi Strauss opened a store in San Francisco. Levi's jeans are still sold today. And here's some info on Levi Strauss. Levi Strauss was born in Bavaria, Germany, and moved to San Francisco in 1850. He had a business selling things such as umbrellas, handkerchiefs, underwear, and fabric to small stores throughout the West. These stores then sold the items to miners and settlers. In 1873, he went into business with one of his customers, a tailor named Jacob Davis from Nevada. They made blue denim pants with metal rivets on the pockets and seams. This added strength so the pants wouldn't rip. Denim fabric was made in Nimes, France. The word denim comes from the word denims. I might be saying that wrong. Which means of Nimes. A similar fabric came from Genoa, Italy. The French word for Genoa is jeans. The two fabrics got confused and the pants became known as jeans. In the 1800s, miners called these pants waist overalls. They loved the pants because they lasted. Strauss sold them as fast as he could make them.